Hi, I'm Janice of Growing Light Wellness and Yoga. Thank you for joining me today. This is a practice to help foster better sleep, better quality sleep, easier time falling asleep and staying asleep. It's made up primarily of poses that are more restorative in nature, some forward folding, some gentle supported back bends. I recommend that you have at least 2 blocks and at least 1 blanket for this class, although 2 blankets might be nice. You can also use a rolled up yoga mat. So I decided to do this class in honor of National Sleep Awareness Week, which this year is March 14th through 20th, but it is the week following daylight savings time every year. So there are many factors that can play into our sleep, but we know that stress is a big one. We know that tension in our muscles is a big factor. It's hard to slow down the mind sometimes when we get into bed. So this is a practice that can help you with that. So we'll take some time here to unwind ourselves, to focus on the breath, to slow down the mind. We'll do a little self-massage, a little breath work, and some movement practice together. So we'll start seated here, hands on the lap. If this is an uncomfortable position, feel free to extend your legs or find any way that feels good to you. You may also want to try taking a block or maybe just your folded blanket or towel. You can shift forward, bring that block under your sit bones, and bringing those hips just a little higher than the knees. I'm sure you can see the difference in my posture just from bringing that folded blanket under the hips. I am going to work with some notes today, so I may be looking over at those. So what I want to start with is just some centering. Bring your hands to your knees, roll the shoulders back, tuck the chin slightly, and take a moment to just arrive on your mat. To be here, to be now, to leave the day behind, to make this time for yourself. Feel each inhale, release each exhale. As you inhale, feel the belly rise and expand. Feel the chest rise slightly. Exhale, soften, empty. And as we bring our attention to the breath, let's notice briefly the 4 parts of the breath. So we usually think of breath as in and out. Breath is very interesting because it's happens automatically, but it's also something that we can control, which can come in really handy when we're working on managing our stress and getting better sleep. So when I say the 4 parts of the breath, I want you to notice your inhale and the pause at the top of the inhale, the exhale, and the pause at the bottom of the exhale. Generally, these pauses are very short, but they are there. We don't just go right from inhale to exhale. So just notice how you breathe, not trying to change anything. Just noticing here. Maybe you allow the eyes to close or the gaze to soften towards the cheeks. The eyelids fluttering against each other. As you breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause, breathe in. Noticing your breath. Noticing how the body feels in this moment. Bringing your attention to the top of the head and scanning your way down the body, not trying to change anything, just becoming aware of where you're starting. So that as we draw towards the end of our practice, you can notice any changes that might have taken place. On the next inhale, we'll lift the arms overhead. Exhale, turn the palms out, hands to the sides. Inhale, sweep the hands overhead. Exhale, turn the palms out, hands sweep back down to the sides. This inhale, we'll sweep the arms overhead. We'll reach up through the fingers like we're trying to get a little good morning stretch. And we'll maybe circle the wrists, maybe flick the fingers. One more inhale here. And exhale, palms together through center, hands to the heart, pressing the thumbs into the chest. Allow your head to bow slightly over the hands and offer yourself a silent thank you for showing up for this practice, for recognizing how important you are, how important your rest is, not just to you, but to everyone around you. You can't show up for others if you don't first care for yourself. Prioritize your rest. One more inhale here, and exhale, release the hands. As you center, head over hips, ears over shoulders, noticing how you feel, noticing if there's any tension in the body. We're going to do a short self-massage routine. This is great. It can be done anywhere. It can be done if you wake during the night. It can be done in your office if you're feeling stressed out. So we'll start. We'll use the heels of the hand for this. If that's uncomfortable, you can always use the fingers. You can also do this with massage balls, but you always have your hands with you. So we'll start with those. So we're going to bring the hands to the area of the scalp just over the temples. We're going to press in just slightly, just enough to feel a little pressure there. And we'll start to move the hands in a circle 5 times in one direction as we breathe in and out. Thinking about how soft we are, how supple we are. 5 times in the other direction if you haven't changed directions yet. Focusing on being soft, being malleable. And then we'll move to the area just above the ears. So you're going to bring your heels of your hands to the bones just above the ears. You'll let the jaw relax. Maybe you open and close the mouth as you move the hands 5 times in one direction. And then 5 times in the other direction. Maybe moving the jaw from side to side. And then releasing. And the next area that we'll move to is this bony area just behind the ears. So you'll bring your hands just behind the ears. You may need to adjust a little bit here. Maybe you move on to just the side of the hand, or you use your thumbs here. Letting the jaw relax, letting the shoulders relax. We'll move 5 times in one direction. 5 times in the other direction. And then release the hands. Take a breath in, notice how you feel. We'll bring the fingertips here using 2 or 3 fingers to the hairline just above the forehead, right about where you would part your hair in the center if you do that. And we'll move 5 times, circling in one direction. And then 5 times in the other direction, remembering to breathe, keeping the jaw soft, mouth maybe slightly open. Then we'll move about halfway back on the scalp, 5 times in one direction, breathing, softening, 5 times in the other direction. And then we'll move toward the back of the head, kind of like where the soft spot is on a baby. And we'll 5 times in one direction, massage the scalp. 5 times in the opposite direction, softening, keeping the jaw relaxed. And then releasing the hands. We'll bring 2 fingers to the face, just on either side of the nose, kind of just below the eyes here. And we'll move 5 times in one direction, 5 times in the other direction, keeping the jaw nice and soft, allowing movement through the face. We'll bring the hands to the brow, and you can use 2 or 3 fingers here as we go 5 times in one direction, 5 times in the other direction. And release the hands. Take a breath here. And we'll move to the right earlobe, massaging here. Don't be afraid to give it a little tug as you work your way up the ear, around the top of the ear. Maybe you need to switch the position of your hands. Massaging here gently. One more breath here. Let the jaw open, move side to side. And then we'll move to the other side. For our other amazing earlobe, these massages of the ears and especially the earlobes can help release endorphins, which can help with our pain management and help us feel a little better. They also stimulate the pineal and the pituitary areas. The pineal gland releases melatonin, which can help us fall asleep. So massaging here, and when you feel like that's done, breath in, release the hands. Find that center again, recentering the head. Deep breath in, noticing how you feel, and release the breath. It's not uncommon to feel like that massage of the head release tension in other parts of the body as well. So again, this is something that you can do anytime. It just takes a few minutes. So from here, we can, if you're seated on the blanket, you can stay there. You can sit on the mat. If you're on a block, you may want to lower your hips just a bit. We'll start to move the spine. Inhaling, moving the chest forward, circling around. Exhale, arching the back. So finding this stirring movement here. You can allow the eyes to close if that feels good to you. Feeling how this feels in your body. Finding that rotation in the spine. And then on the next inhale, we'll go the other way. Moving with the breath. And then coming back to center. Deep breath here in. And sigh it out. We'll turn to hands and knees. And here is another great use for the blanket. If your knees feel a little iffy today, you can always pad them up with the blanket. So giving yourself support in whatever way you need. You can also, if you say the wrists are feeling just not so super great today, you can place the edge of a blanket under the heel of the hand, and that'll help redistribute weight through the fingers and through the rest of the hand. So you want to focus on pressing into the knuckles, taking weight off of the wrist. You can relax the feet. And as we inhale, we'll drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone for cow, and exhale for cat. So just moving through a few of these with your breath. Inhale, belly drops, chest lifts, tailbone lifts. Exhale, arching the back. Moving through a few of these with your own breath. And again, maybe it feels good to close your eyes here. And then when you're ready, coming back to center. Bring the big toes together. Bring the knees wide. If you have the blanket under the knees, feel free to leave it here. Start to sink the hips back. Reach the hands forward. Allow the forehead to come towards the mat. Finding your child's pose. If the forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can use a block. You can use a blanket. Another great place for the blanket is either under the feet or on top of the feet, so the hips don't have to go back quite so far. And then I'll put a block under my head, and you can see this modification here. There are so many ways to modify child's pose, and I actually do have a video on my YouTube channel, and I'll try to link it to the end of this video. Taking a few breaths here, feeling the expansion through the sides and the back of the body. And as you come up, see if you can shift through your cat pose and into your cow pose, and then to flat back. If you have the blanket over the feet or under the knees, remove it, place it about halfway up your mat, and start to work your way towards your belly. So the blanket is just giving us a little support in the hips, a little rise here. If it doesn't feel like enough, you can always give it another fold. You You can also use a pillow or a bolster here. Make a pillow for the hand, with the hands for the head. Turn your head to one side. Inhale and exhale through the mouth. Turn the head to the other side. Taking a few breaths here. Bend the right knee. Bring the heel towards your butt. Exhale, lower. Inhale, bend the left knee. Heel towards the butt. Exhale, lower. Bend the right knee. And lower. Bend the left knee. And lower. Bend both knees. Flex the feet. Maybe you allow the feet to just gently swish from side to side. Forehead rest on the hands. And then lower both feet. And from here, we'll extend the arms back. And as we inhale, we'll peel the chest up, peel the legs up, and take a locust supported by our blanket. Head and neck are relaxed, gaze is just in front of the mat. One more inhale here, and exhale, lower. Now we can bend the knees slightly, lift the hips, remove the blanket. Take your blocks and place them at the top of your mat. We'll tuck the toes, press the hands into the blocks, and start to move up and back for downward facing dog. I like to use the blocks here because I like you to experience how much more space you have in your downward facing dog with the blocks and how this pose feels different in your body. Step your feet wide, maybe to the edges of the mat. Bend your knees, lift your hips toward the sky. Relaxing the head and neck. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, walk your feet towards your hands. Pressing into the blocks. Turn the blocks to their highest height. Finding yourself in a forward fold, hands on the blocks. Bend the knees deeply and allow the upper body to rest on the thighs. Full breath here. Press into the blocks, lift halfway. Extend the spine long, still gazing down just in front of your mat. Exhale, lower into your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Keeping that long spine. Lift the arms, rise into standing. Exhale, palms down to the sides. Find your mountain pose. So I'll turn to face you. I like to turn my palms out for mountain pose. It opens my chest just a little bit, but you can always keep the hands at the sides. So from here, we'll inhale the arms overhead, exhale, palms together, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, open the arms, twist to the right. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, open the arms, twist to the left. Reach through the fingertips. Inhale, open the arms, lift the arms. Exhale, arms to the sides, interlace the fingers behind your back. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, similar to what you did in locust. Lift the chest, getting that back bend through the upper spine. Exhale, release the hands. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, find those blocks, bend the knees, upper body rests on the thighs. We'll inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands on the mat. Inhale, step the right foot back, lower that right knee, supporting it with a blanket if you need to. And this is another place I like to use my blanket under that back leg because sometimes I have trouble pressing that into the mat. And we'll take a low lunge here. You might want to step your feet a little further apart to get this angle through the back thigh and focus on pulling the left thigh back and the right thigh forward to keep the hips facing the front of the mat. Inhale, hands to the thigh, maybe hands overhead. Exhale, shifting the hips back, straightening that front leg, maybe using the blocks here as you bring your chest towards your knee. And then inhale back into your low lunge. I'm going to take my blanket out here. And I want you to take your blocks and bring them to the inside arch of your left foot. You can either stack them one on top of the other or maybe next to each other, depending on your needs. We're going to come down onto our forearms. So we'll find that lunge, step that left foot just a little bit wider. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, start to hinge forward. Maybe the outside arm comes down, and then maybe the inside arm comes down. See if you can lengthen forward with your chest. If they don't come down, find your posture on your hands and bend the elbows. So I can also, again, come up a little higher by stacking my blocks on top of each other. Lengthen the chest, head and neck are relaxed. Roll onto the outer blade of that left foot. So you're opening the leg out to the side. If that doesn't feel good to you, just come back into your lunge. Lengthening through the tailbone, lengthening through the crown of the head. Roll back onto the sole of your foot. Start to shift your hips back and come back into that half split. And then we'll come back into our lunge, lifting the arms on the inhale. Exhale, planting the hands. Inhale, lift the back knee. Step into your forward fold, knees bent, upper body resting on thighs. One more inhale here. Exhale, and inhale, step your left foot back. Relax that knee, relax that back foot. Finding that angle through the back thigh. Maybe you inhale the hands to the thigh. Maybe you're using your blocks here for support. Or maybe you lift the arms to the sky. And then as you exhale, lower the hands, shift the hips back, straighten that front leg, point your toes towards your nose. Allow the chest to fold towards the knee. Press that heel into the mat. Inhale, come forward into your low lunge. Find where you need the blocks. So try whatever height you used on the other side, although each side can be dramatically different. Inhale, lifting the arms, finding that length as we hinge forward. Maybe you step that right foot out a little bit if you feel you don't have enough space. And finding the outer forearm on the block and maybe the inner forearm on the block. Spine long. Head and neck relaxed. If you'd like to, take this deeper, roll onto the outer blade of the right foot, opening that knee out to the side. Coming back onto the sole of the foot, start to walk yourself back up, shift the hips back, straighten that front leg. Forward into your lunge, maybe the hands come up. Hands come down, lift that back knee, and this time plant the hands, step the right foot back, lower the knees, shift back into your child's pose. Breathing, feeling expansion of the sides and the back of the body. Feeling the breath return to its normal rate and rhythm. Feeling the heartbeat. Finding quiet. Finding stillness. On the inhale, start to walk yourself back up and find your seat. And we'll take some forward folds here. So I'm gonna turn to face you. And I'm gonna bring my right foot into my left inner thigh, send my left leg out in front of me. I can use my blocks here or not. I like to place them next to the leg. If your hips are tight, it may help to take that blanket back under your hips like we did at the beginning. Or sometimes what I like to do is place a blanket over the thigh and that hip crease to give me a little more support. So we'll inhale the arms up overhead and exhale, fold forward. I'm gonna rest my forearms on the blocks, allowing the spine to round just slightly. Head and neck are relaxed. And on the inhale, walking it back up. And we'll change legs. So again, I'll bring my left sole to right inner thigh, taking the blocks to the sides of my leg. As I inhale, the arms up overhead, and exhale, folding forward. And again, you can use the blankets under the knee, under the hips, or in that hip crease if you'd like to. And then inhale, rising. So we'll bring the soles of the feet together. I'd like you to take your thumbs and massage into the soles of the feet here, with the same care that you used when you gave your face and head the massage, thinking about softening, releasing tension. And then push the feet away from you. So instead of butterfly, we come into seated diamond, where our seat is wider. So feet are away. If you need to, you can still use a block under the knees here if you'd like to. Another great place for your blanket, fold it, roll it, and if it's long enough, you can stretch it out here between the knees. This is a great variation. We'll inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale, fold and round forward. Maybe you place a block near your feet so that your head can rest on that if it doesn't quite reach your feet. Or you can just let the head hang. So this still gets a little bit of the inner thighs, but it's mostly an outer thigh stretch. So that's how it differs from butterfly. The position of the feet really determines the area of the body that gets stretched. Inhale and exhale, breathe into any areas of tension. And what I mean by that is use your exhale to release and start to pay attention to where you're feeling tense. So I feel tense in my left thigh, so I inhale, and on the exhale, I think, soften the left thigh. And sometimes just by bringing your attention to that area, things start to soften. And we'll inhale as we start to come back up. And we'll kind of move our props to the side, and I'll show you how to get set up for these next few poses. So we'll move into a little bit of an upper back bend. Now you can use the blanket here for a little less intense stretch. So you can roll the blanket, bring it against the back of the hips. Let's do that first. So it's going to be long ways here. It's going to support most of your spine. And then you'll roll back so the spine is resting on the blanket, and maybe the head comes off the top, or you can keep the head supported too if that feels good. So we'll stay here for just a moment to feel what that feels like. And then we can use our arms and press in with our feet and roll ourselves back up. So now we'll take that blanket out. So again, that's like the less intense version. If you like that, feel free to stay there and do it again. We can also use our blocks for this. So I place one block this way, so parallel with the short edge of my mat. And I have this block on its medium height. And then this block I'm going to place on its highest height. So alternatively, I could do low and medium, depending on how I'm feeling today. And this block is for my shoulder blades and upper back. So it's gonna be about for women where your bra strap is, or kind of around the bottom part of your shoulder blades, like the base of your shoulder blades. And then you'll start to gently lower yourself back, and you'll rest your head on this block. Now for me, what feels good is to have my head a little higher than my chest, because I have a little sensitivity in my neck. But you may want a little deeper stretch, so you can adjust that block so it's either the same height as the block that you're resting your back on, or maybe even lower, and you'll see what an intense opening I get here. For me, this is a little too intense to hold for very long, so I like to do a little bit less intense version. So I'm gonna rest my head here. I'm gonna open the arms out to the sides, so nice and wide here, palms up. You can keep your knees bent, or maybe try extending your legs, letting the feet relax out to the sides, and see how that feels. Sometimes it takes a little practice to get into the right position with the block so that it feels good in your body. Sometimes you can place a blanket over the block to make it a little more comfortable, or you might want to try the block on its lowest height. Breathe here, feel that opening through the heart, through the chest, relax the shoulders, relax the face. Maybe you find a little smile here. One more deep breath here, full breath. And then to come out of this, what I like to do is bend my left knee and turn to my right side, and then use my arms and my hand to assist me back up to a seat. So we'll move these blocks over to the side. We'll keep one nearby, and we'll make our way back onto our backs, bringing the feet in closer to the hips if that's comfortable for you. So finding where the position is that's comfortable for you. If you can brush them with your fingers, great. If not, great. You're perfect right where you are. So we're gonna move into supported bridge. So we'll press into the hands, into the feet, lift the hips, take this block on its lowest or medium height, and bring it under the sacrum, which is the lowest part of the low back. If it's on the medium height, you'll probably be just above your buttocks. Walk the shoulder blades away from walk the shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades toward the spine. Maybe the palms turn up here as you find this gentle inversion. Breathing slowly. So sometimes we talk about deep breathing. I also like to talk about breathing low and slow. So low in the chest, into the belly, and slowing the breath, letting the exhale become a little longer than the inhale. If your block is on the medium height, I want you to come up on the toes, lift the hips, and turn it to the lowest height. If you're already on the low height, you can go ahead and stay there. You can lift and lower the hips as well. So find that lowest height, place it under the sacrum, and then extend the legs out along the mat, getting that nice stretch through the front of the body. You can let the feet open out to the sides. So let's bring our hands overhead here and stretch through the whole body. Breathing. If it feels good to exhale out your mouth, give yourself a sigh here. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the sides, placing the palms on the floor, bend the legs. Lift the right knee into the chest and send the foot up towards the ceiling, like you're trying to put your footprint up there. And then inhale the left knee in and left foot toward the ceiling. So this is either, you can think of it as either supported shoulder stand because our hips are lifted, so we're in a mild inversion. It can also be a version of legs up the wall. So this can be done against a wall, resting the legs on the wall. You can use a block or not. very restorative. Recommend you give it a try. Breathe in here. Inhale, reach up through the feet. Exhale, lower the right foot, lower the left foot. Inhale, come up on the toes. And remove that block and lower down to the mat. Good. So we'll inhale the knees into the chest. Give ourselves a little rock and roll here. And then lower the feet to the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open out to the sides. Again, this is a great place for your props. You can use blocks under the thighs, under the knees, or under the ankles, wherever you feel like you need support. You can take your rolled blanket, as we did in seated diamond, and bring it under the thighs, and that may be enough. Or you may not want to use a prop at all, and that's fine too. Bring the hands to the belly. Feel the rise and fall with your breath. Bring your attention back to the 4 parts of the breath: the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause. And knowing that we can lengthen any of these parts, we can lengthen the inhale, we can lengthen the pause, we can lengthen the exhale. So together, let's inhale for 4, pause for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4. You can stay in this position, or if you'd like to, you can straighten the legs and let the feet relax out to the sides. Maybe keep the hands on the belly if that feels good to you, or sometimes it helps to put a blanket or a block on the belly. You can watch the rise and fall of the prop to sort of cue you through these exercises. So take a deep breath in and release. And then we'll inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. 2 more rounds on your own, counting in your head. Finish up that last round if you haven't already. And then take a breath in and release. And then we'll inhale, hug the knees into the chest. Send the arms nice and wide. And on the exhale, drop the knees to the right. Another great place for your props. I'm going to place a blanket here as my knees come down to rest on that blanket. I'm going to bring my right hand to the top of my left knee. And you can feel free to do the same, or you can keep the arms nice and wide. You can also straighten that top leg. Maybe you reach for the calf here, or the ankle, or the toe if you have the flexibility. If you have the leg straightened, go ahead and bend it back in. And we'll inhale the knees back to center. Give ourselves a little rock on the exhale. Inhale, arms come wide. Exhale, knees drop to the left. Maybe your left hand comes to the top of the right knee. Your gaze can be at the sky, over the left shoulder, or over the right shoulder, which may deepen this a little bit. Feel your breath expand the side and back of your body. We often have trouble feeling this area when we're standing or sitting, but a twist really can bring that sensation to life for you. Inhale the knees back to center. Give yourself a little rock here. And then we'll inhale, curling everything in, curling the fingers, curling the toes. Taking another small inhale, holding, and then exhale, releasing everything down to the mat. finding your way into Savasana, or final resting pose. If you'd like to prop here, you can take a blanket under your head or your shoulders. You can roll a blanket under your knees or use your blocks. Or maybe you simply want to cover up with a blanket, as our bodies tend to cool in these slower paced practices. Legs come wide, feet turn out to the side, arms nice and wide, take up space here. Palms turn to the sky. Release any efforting. Let the breath return to its normal rate and rhythm. Feel the heart rate return to its normal rate, your resting heart rate. Feel yourself completely supported by the mat, by the ground, by the earth. Starting at the top of your head, scan the body. Not trying to change anything, just noticing. Noticing where you are right now, and if that's any different than where you started at the beginning of your practice. Then bringing the breath to the toes. As you inhale and exhale, releasing any tension there. And moving up the body that way to the feet, the ankles, the lower legs, the knees, the thighs. Next breath in, releasing tension on the exhale in your hips and your pelvis, the lower back and the belly. That next breath in moves to the upper back, the chest, the shoulders, releasing any tension there on the exhale. The next breath in moves to the arms, down the right arm to the hand to the fingers, down the left arm to the hand to the fingers. On the exhale, releasing any tension there, letting it drain out of you. The next inhale moves to the neck and the throat, the muscles of the face. Maybe you find yourself in a gentle half smile as you exhale and release any tension. The next inhale, finding any tension in those muscles behind the nose, the eyes, the ears, the muscles of the scalp where we started with our gentle massage. And exhale, releasing any tension. That next inhale coming all the way up to the top of your head and all the way down to the tips of your toes, releasing any tension. As you breathe and rest, and release any effort. You're welcome to stay here in Savasana as long as you like. But if it's time for you to move to your bed or move into the rest of your evening, hope that you'll move slowly and gently, carrying this sense of peace and relaxation with you as you move off the mat and into your life. I thank you for joining me for this practice. I'd love to hear how you sleep tonight. I hope you sleep well. Thank you for joining me.